I think that from day one, he wasn't interested in her. He made that pretty clear to me and the boys. And the fact that he's gone there today and tried to sort of swindle his way in there and she's believed it is amazing to me, so.
I am here for Ollie burning it all down. I'm here for Ollie telling the truth about what he saw and what he felt was happening in the villa. Whether or not everyone else agrees with him, that's a totally different story. But Reid played Kirra, and Kirra is pretending as though she doesn't recognize it. There's only one of two things that could have taken place. Either Reid and Kirra are in this together, or she got played. And I don't know. At the moment, I'm sort of struggling to understand whether she could be that naive that she would be played like that, given how vocal she was on Mouse. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. We're still on our way to 1,000 subs. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island Australia, Season 5, Episode 5. Am I the only one? I don't even know where to start. Okay, so you have Kale and Tyra come back from their date. It's a continuation anyway. So Tyra's chatting with the girls and she's sort of saying how great her date was with Kale. And she still has this great connection with Ben, but she feels like her conversations with Kale were actually more substantial. They were easygoing and they were smooth, and she really liked that. But she's also still interested in Ben. And you can see on Nakia's face that she's not happy with this conversation. She's not happy with where things are going. She would rather the date had gone terribly. She actually says so in her confessional. And the fact that Tyra said she would rather give up Kale because he is more Nakia's type doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense. I don't know, that's just me, but it doesn't make sense, because why would you pass up on a connection just because of somebody else? You are in Love Island. I know it's a bit hypocritical of me to say that, but anyway, it is what it is. So then you have Kale have a conversation with the guys and sort of tell them that, you know, he had a very good date. Both of them were great. And he said, you know, he really enjoyed his time with Tyra. He was expecting it to not go so well. And I think they were both disappointed that it was going very well. And so for him to go and have a conversation with Sav, Sav is the CNN of the villa, her and Zach. So he's having a conversation with Sav. He's sort of trying to suss out what Tyra was saying. And Sav is telling him that, you know, Tyra said you had an amazing date. She really enjoyed her time with you. And in the other corner, you have Ben busy lying to Tyra. And it's like, why are the girls in the villa listening to lies from Zach and his dumb? Why? Why are they buying whatever they're selling? Because for him to say, no, he said, you're his number 2, his number 1 is Nakia. That's not what he said. That is not what he said. He said, you know, it went very well, but obviously he's worried that Nakia and Tyra are friends, one, and the fact that Ben is there as well, he doesn't want to offend anyone. And yet, for Tyra, you could see there was disappointment. I think she really liked Kale, and she was looking for someone to give her permission to continue to pursue that connection. But the fact that Nakia was being territorial, and the fact that Ben came and lied to her, I think is what put her off, and she decided to continue with Ben. I don't think if she continues with Ben, it's because she likes him. I think it's because of the convenience that she's guaranteed to be in a couple at recoupling. I'm happy that Tia took this opportunity. She pulled Reid for a chat and told him that, you know, she's still open to getting to know Nate, and she wants to be honest with Reid because she doesn't want him to get any unpleasant surprises. And Reid on his part actually says, I know and I can tell, because the way she behaves around Nate is totally different to the way she behaves around me. With Nate, she maintains eye contact with me. She's looking all over the sky except at me. And so he was good about it. He was sweet. He wasn't as bitter as, you know, Trent was, which was amazing. And then she goes for a chat with Nate. I like them. I want Nate to be happy. I hate the way he was treated, you know, by Zach and his posse. So anything that makes Nate happy is good enough for me. So I like the fact that she was honest, that I think she's realized that of all the guys in the villa, the best guy is actually Nate. The rest are just there for fun and games. And if she wants something, or if she wants someone who's going to be loyal, then she'd better stick to Nate. And the fact that they went to the pool and they were making out in front of everyone. I remember Zach saying, "Oh, Nate is playing chess. I'm playing checkers." Well, guess who, buddy? Guess who's winning? Guess who's winning? He didn't fight. He wasn't bitter. He didn't backstab anyone. He didn't gossip, and he finally got what he was looking for by just playing it cool. Nice guys at times do win. I hope nothing sort of tears them apart. It's interesting that of all the guys in the villa, Kale has decided to link himself with Nate and Ollie. I think they're the most decent bunch of the guys. The other guys have just shown who they are and they've already believed them. So they're having a chat and Nakia walks up and pulls him for a chat. I think Nakia and Ben are very insecure, and I think they're trying to do their best to make sure they separate Kale and Tyra, because they know that they have a stronger sort of connection than they do with either Nakia or with Ben. So they have this conversation, and Kale is telling Nakia that, "Oh, my date went well with Tyra. We're talking and we're enjoying ourselves. But I was thinking I don't want to tear your clothes off. Whereas when I was talking to you, I want to tear your clothes off." And it's like, he's telling you the truth about, how he feels towards you. So if I were you, I would keep looking for somebody else. All he wants is to hit it and quit it. And he is saying he can see himself with something more sort of long term with Tyra. Which part of that can you not hear? Or can you not read between the lines? Because that's more or less what he's saying. That with Tyra, he has conversations that are deep, that are thoughtful, that are insightful. And yet with you, all he sees is sex. Make it make sense? They do kiss and they go for a swim, and it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. And so you have the girls getting ready and they're having conversations. Obviously, they're asking Tyra about her date, and she's sort of telling them what Ben said. And the girls were right to say to her, "How can you listen to Ben? Ben is never going to tell you the truth because he's always going to be looking out for his best interest." I personally don't think Tyra wants to risk her connection with Ben just in case Kale leaves her. So she'd rather stay in something stable than be out there in the wind floating and not knowing whether she is in a couple or not. That's the impression that I got. And for Nakia to reveal that, "Oh, we kissed and they said I was his number one," that wasn't necessary. That wasn't necessary. That was her sort of insecurity speaking, in my opinion, because even if Tyra took it very well, as she said, "Oh, Tyra is a very good friend," there's no need for you to rub it in. She should have said, "Oh, yes, I spoke to him. We've got it. We seem to get on very well. He said we got on well and is keen to continue to get to know me." And that's it. And then if she wanted to say anything about the kiss, that's it. I give credit to Tyra for saying, "I'm not really bothered about the kiss," because at the end of the day, it's only the first couple of days. If it was further down the line, then you'd be worried that, oh, they have a stronger connection or bond. That's the impression that I got. So it is what it is. Finally, Tyra has a conversation with Kale, because they've been going around in circles and listening to everybody else but themselves about how their date went. So it's good to see them sit down and have a conversation and sort of try and understand how the date went and where they think they are and if they're interested in pursuing a connection. And you can see that there are two people that really like one another because they agree that their date was amazing and they really would like to get to know one another. But as Kale had already identified, the problem is Nakia also has feelings towards Kale. And so if Kale wants to pursue anything with Tyra, he would have to go through Nakia. And I think Tyra is right to say, you do your thing with Nakia. If it doesn't work out, fine. If it works out, amazing. Because I don't want to be, because otherwise they would have been playing them. Because she would have gone with he would have gone after Tyra and Nakia at the same time, and it would have been a love triangle for forever. So to avoid being in a love triangle and to make sure that when he comes for her, he is coming for her with the best of intentions, she did what was best. And you could see he was heartbroken. He really didn't like the idea of her taking a step back because of Nakia, but at the same time, he is taking a step back because of Ben. So there are two people in situations whereby they can't help themselves. And the only way they can help themselves is if either one of their partners is sent home. That's the impression that I'm getting. So if either Ben goes home, or if Ben and Nakia go home, or Ben and Nakia recouple, then the two of them will pursue this thing just like Nate and Tia. I feel sorry for Tyra because in putting others first, she's left herself vulnerable in the sense that I really don't feel like Ben really likes her like that. I feel it's one of two things. It's either he never really liked her like that and was just playing up because he knew he could secure himself a place in the villa, or two, his ego is so bruised that she's talking to Kale that he's decided to be disrespectful to her because they have this conversation and it's like, oh, I am open as well. At the moment, I'm with you, but if I have other options, because it came up about the bombshell, if I have other options, then it's something else. And you could see it on Tyra's face that she realized that she'd screwed up. I don't think she should have put Kale on the back burner. I don't think she should have told him that she was putting him on the back burner. I think she should have continued to get to know him and just said, I will continue to get to know you, but I want to be respectful of your connection with Nakia, and I also want to be respectful of Ben, because now she's realizing that Ben is really not feeling her the same way she thought he was feeling her, and so she's left a guy who's really interested in her to go for a guy who's not that keen on her, and she's stuck, and you can see her mind, you can see it, you can read it on her face that she's now thinking that, what did I do? Should I go back should I go back to Kale and say I made a mistake? If I do, will he take me back seriously, or will he also treat me the same way? Which is very bad for Tyra. I think Tyra is one of the nicest girls in the villa, so it's sad that she's being treated this way. All the islanders go to bed, and you see Lucinda and Zach in bed. Lucinda, for me, I don't understand her. She's a former islander, and I don't get why she's allowing herself to be used by this little boy, Zach. All he wants is to fulfill his childhood dream, whereby he fancied her and he wanted to be in the same bed with her. I don't think he's got any emotional connection with her. I feel like if somebody else walks in the villa that he likes, he will dump her and he'll move on. But at the moment, he's going to try and use her. And it's a pity that he tried to steal her from Nate. And it's not working because Nate has already moved on. He is cuddling up in bed with Tia and is dying for recoupling to come up. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at recoupling and who picks who and what happens after. It's interesting that everybody goes to bed and there's no debriefing in the morning. Apart from the tiny one that the girls had, I'm happy that the producers have realized that nobody wants to hear the same old thing every single day, and we could do the break from debriefings. And so you had Tweedledum and Tweedledee, as Nakia called them, Zach and Trent, trying to listen in to the girls' conversation, and they asked them to leave, which was amazing because all they want is drama. All they want is to be in the indispensable. So they want to be where it's happening. That way the producers can think, oh no, we like them, let's keep them. So it was good to see that the girls waited for them to leave and then sort of discussed their connections. And I'm happy that Tyra is realizing that maybe Ben is using her and is really not feeling her the way she thought he was. And it's sad that this has come about after she's sort of broken things off with Trent before they started, because now she has to sit and wait and hope that Trent doesn't create a stronger bond with Nakia before he sort of comes for her. And I'm happy for Reid because he offered to make the girls a drink and then pulled Tyra for a chat. I want Tyra to stay in the villa so that she can keep Tia company. And so they had this conversation and really seemed to get on very well. I think Tyra's person in the villa is Kale, and it's a pity that she sort of dropped him before she could explore things further because she was given secondhand information that was incorrect. But anyway, it was cute to see. I think on his part, Reid is actually seeing a future and is actually seeing an opportunity for him to stay in the villa should the recoupling come up. The producers had better have Sav on payroll, because there's no way she's carrying so much tea and they're not paying her, because she has a conversation after they receive a message to say it will be a recoupling, and it looks like the girls are going to be the ones choosing who they want to recouple with because there's more boys than there is girls. And so she's speaking to Reid and she's sort of trying to see how he can stay in the villa. They're trying to strategize on who he can go after. Obviously, he's been trying to lay thick on Tyra, but then he decides, oh, why don't we go for Kirra, because Kira's not in a romantic coupling with anyone. She's in a couple with Ollie at the moment, but it's not romantic. And so they come up with this plan, and then he goes and he carries it out. And it's like, Why would Kirra eat that up? Why? Unless she's being strategic and she knows that he would never dump her if it came to recoupling. They would always save one another. That's the only reason why she would want to recouple with him. Because on first day, they told each other that they would not recouple or they would not pursue a connection just because he slept with her sister. Whether it was 1 time, 20 times, 2 times, he slept with her sister. And I don't know why she would entertain that, knowing that the girls were teasing her when he first came in. And so for the guys to sort of think about it and come up and sort of try and strategize on how to deal with it was amazing. And so I don't know how she's going to deal with that. And then you have the 3 musketeers sort of having a conversation in regards Ben's future. They know that Reid is trying to apply pressure, but they're also worried that if he wins, that means Ben is going home because Ben has no one else. And for me, I don't think, whether or not Tyra likes Reid, I don't think she should save Ben because Ben has shown her who he is. He's told her who he is. There's no need for her to try and wait around and see what he'll do. So they're trying to say, oh, if she doesn't choose you, that shows she's got poor judgment. And it's like, you've told her you're not really that into her. She's only a convenient partner because there's no one your type or no one else you like in the villa. So please sit down somewhere. And then you have Nate sort of trying to speak to his guy, Ollie, because I think they've become very close, especially after the Zach scenario. And he's sort of giving Ollie a heads up to say that, oh, Reid has gone to have a conversation with Kirra and is offered, to pursue something romantic because, he has some sort of romantic feelings towards her. And the boys agree that he's lying. He's telling fibs. He's not really that keen on her. He wants to stay in the villa, but he's not into Kirra. And so for Ollie to go and approach Kirra and sort of ask her, are you aware that he is only using you and he's already said he's not interested? It came across as sly, but it was the truth. It needed to be said. At the end of the day, it needed to be said because she needs to understand that how is he suddenly coming to you on the day after he's found out about the recoupling? Why didn't he come to you sooner? Where has he been all this time? So I don't know. I think she should go with Ollie. I think Ollie's her safe bet because Ollie will appreciate her saving him. And if she ever is in that position, Ollie will try and save her as well. But then, I don't know. Anyway, I digress. So the islanders get ready for the night. Obviously, everybody's on pins and needles, and they're sort of having conversations in regards to, do they feel like they're in the right coupling, or do they feel like they need to explore their options? I like the fact that Sav is trying to fight for Reid. Well, she's fighting for Reid because she more or less says, yes, you were not his first option, but at least he's, so was I. I wasn't Trent's first option, but here we are. And so I don't know. I really don't know. I think the producers are sending Sav, and I think the producers have agreed with Sav that they'll keep her in the villa for as long as possible, as long as she plays ball, and this is what she's trying to do. It was interesting that the islanders obviously gathered around the fire pit, and as Sophie arrived, and she explained that somebody would be going home. And so the first person to pick was Kale. Obviously, he's the last person to arrive in the villa, so it makes sense that they would want him to pick first. What I found about his little speech was the fact that he kept highlighting that there were, some girls that caught his attention, and Nakia was one of the girls that caught his attention. So, he is choosing her because, they seem to get on very well. But he left it open. He didn't rule out Tyra. He didn't say, she's the one and only person that I got on with, and I don't want to explore anything. No, he left it open. That way, the door is open for Tyra to walk in anytime she wants to walk in, which was amazing because I really like Tyra. I don't mean to laugh. Okay, next up is Sav. So Sav, the producers really love her. Anyway, she gets first pick and she chooses Trent. Is anyone surprised? No. If we're going to be honest, no. Because she and Trent came up with this plan and decided to go full steam ahead, and it seems to be working for them. So hey, they deserve each other. And so that was amazing to see. Next up is Tia, you could see from her speech who she was going to pick. She said he makes her feel comfortable. He cares for her. And the smile on Nate's face and the smile on my face, given what Nate went through with Zach, Oh my God, it's amazing. And Lucinda is sitting there and she's boiling, and it's like, you had him and you listened to silly high school gossip. So you can't be upset with anyone because you left him for Zach. You are the one who left the coupling first. You started kissing Zach after Zach told you what you wanted to hear. So don't be upset with Nate. Don't be upset with Tia, because they were willing to sort of put themselves aside and sort of focus on you, and you didn't want to be focused on. So it is what it is. Nate is smiling, and it's like he's playing the long game. I wish they had zoomed in on Zach's face. I wanted to see Zach's face as soon as, Nate started kissing Tia. Oh my God, I'm here for this, and I love it, and I'm so happy. Lucinda picks Zach, and I feel like, I'm going to be honest, I feel Lucinda, deep down, she knows she missed out on Nate. I don't know whether it's the producers who told her who to pick, because even when she picks Zach and she kisses Zach and they sit down and he's asked, how does it feel to be with Lucinda, and he went, she's a very lucky girl. You could see the look on her face that she despises this boy. She despises this boy. She can't stand him. But for some reason, she's having to pick him. And I don't know whether she's having to pick him because the producers have said they want her to couple up with him and keep him in the villa, or there's anything else, because nobody else in the villa likes him like that. So she's his only ticket to staying in the villa. And so it makes me feel like the producers have forced her to recouple with Zach, leaving Nate free, and Nate is happy where he is. Next up is Tyra. What do I think about her decision? Here we go. I think Tyra did what was in her best interest, in the sense that she knows that Trent and Zach are very close friends with Ben. Had she gone for anybody else, then they would have set their sights on her and made her life in the villa very uncomfortable. And at the first opportunity the Islanders got to pick to vote someone out, they would have voted her out as revenge for Ben. Do I think romantically she's interested in him? No, I think that boat has sailed. I think she is interested in Kale, but sadly she gave up on Kale thinking she had something going with Ben, only to realize too late that there's nothing there. So she's done this, I think, to save herself, in the sense that she's hoping by keeping him in the villa, he will change his ways and he'll be able to save her. But I have a feeling that if a bombshell comes in, he's going to leave her. Ben is going to leave her for somebody else, and then she's still going to be at risk of going home. Last up is Kirra. I personally feel Kirra and Reid, during their conversation, reached an agreement that they would save each other in the villa. They would save each other no matter what. So if either one of them wasn't in a romantic couple and wasn't able to find a romantic partner, then they would always put each other's needs first before everybody else in the villa. That's the impression that I'm getting, because I don't see any reason why she should have picked him over Ollie. I'm not saying she was in a romantic coupling with Ollie, but Ollie had her best interests at heart as compared to Reid. Reid only wanted to save his behind, so he got Seth to go and speak on his behalf. That's the impression that I get. And I'm here for Ollie burning it all down. I'm here for Ollie speaking his mind and letting everybody know that Reid is playing the game, and all he wants is an opportunity to stay in the villa. He's not interested in pursuing anything romantically with Kirra. He's just there to stay in the villa, and because his first choice didn't pick him, because even when Tyra didn't pick him, you could see how broken he was. He was very stressed. He was sweaty. So the idea that he suddenly changed his mind on the last day when it's recoupling and he's now going after Kirra doesn't make sense to me. And so you then have Ollie, speak his mind. They go to pack his bag, and the guys Dumb and Dumber are crazy, because they told him game recognizes game. We all know that you're not interested in Kirra, and he just smiled. He didn't say anything. He just smiled because he knew that had been caught out by the guys. And so I don't know how long he can push this boat up the river. And I don't know. I feel sorry for Ollie though. And Ollie had to speak his mind. He sat down with Kirra and told her, you were played. No, I wasn't played. We agreed we were going to pursue. You were played, girl. You were played. You looked at both options and thought that your best bet to stay in the villa would be Reid, because Reid has some sort of allegiance to you, whereas Ollie doesn't. That's the impression that I get, and I'm going to stick to it. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 4. Bye guys.